Welcome back. This is the Inner Grove podcast, and we are back on for another segment here. Let's welcome our normal crowd here. We've got Sandwich Punch and Baby Punch, and I will be moderating discussions, Bloater Punch. So, welcome. For those of you who don't know, crypto took a tank about 4 months ago, and I'm about 40% emotionally recovered. So, I'm still in process. I hope you will join me in my healing process to not associating myself or my personal value with money. The big topic here will be just catching some of you up. Some of you may have been gone or may not have been following closely, dealing with your own respective depression. So we're gonna catch you up. We're gonna talk about where we've been. We're gonna talk about where we are currently, and we are also gonna talk about where we're going from a DFK perspective. So that said, I wanted to kick off the first question with a brief understanding or brief recap. I know it's old school, but I think it's worth hitting. Is high level, what's the deal with Lock Jewel? If you just to set the stage, before Lock Jewel was like, hey, after a certain amount of time, it's going to start unlocking on this schedule and it'll just convert itself into real Jewel. Where are we at today?
Do you want to take it,
No,
Baby Punch?
I
Do you
mean
want me
you give them the breakdown, but essentially Locked Jewel is going to be redistributed into Clayton and into Crystal. Some will come out in regular Jewel, but why don't you expand on that a little bit more? I know they gave a really good breakdown and you did a summary.
Yeah. So I have an article that details it really well. We'll put it in the notes to this. But I mean, if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, you're like super interested, you must have been gone for the last couple months. So I'll keep it brief for those who probably are already up to speed. But essentially, this is where we're at today, right? We have two tokens. There's 500 million Jewel and 125 million Crystal. What they're going to do is it's going to change so that there'll be 125 million Jewel and then 250 million Crystal and 250 million of a new token called KPT, Clayton Power Token, which for anybody who hasn't been paying attention, that's the other big news is that Serendale will be moving from Harmony to Clayton blockchain. But I think the thing that's really important for people to understand is like, okay, you had Locked Jewel. Like the only way to go from this big of a piece of the pie, this big giant green on today, to this much smaller slice of the pie in Serendale 2.0 is you have to get rid of a ton of Jewel. And so what they're doing is on this left picture down here, maybe I can zoom in a little bit. Jewel, all of your locked Jewel. So if you have unlocked Jewel right now, it's safe. It's not changing. It stays as unlocked Jewel forever. Locked Jewel, however, which was supposed to start unlocking like this week, is no longer going to start unlocking like Baby Punch said. Instead, it's going to be split, and this is how it'll be split. So 44%, 40% of it will turn into locked crystal. 12% of it will remain as will be further split up. Let me touch on that third. And then 44% will be split into locked Clayton Power Token. That'll have its own name. We don't know what it is yet. It's probably going to be some alpha drop. So, okay, locked Crystal, 44%, locked KPT, 44%, which sucks for if you were like super stoked about your Jewel unlocking, because that means locked Crystal now, that's going to follow the Crystal unlock schedule. So starting like April 2023, that'll start to unlock. KPT, that won't start unlocking until they actually launch and start to emit tokens. So we're looking at 1 year from whenever Serendale 2.0 launches on Clayton. But this 12% is when we get to start like tapping into it. So what they'll do with it is 12% of it, 45% of that 12% will stay as locked Jewel, but it will be migrated to Crystalville and it will unlock like it normally was going to. So I mean, you end up with like 4.85%, 5% of your bag. So like, let's just put this in context. You have 100,000 locked Jewel. You now have 5,000 locked Jewel that will unlock like it was locked Jewel. The rest of it, 44,000.
Say it with a straight face.
44,000 of that gets turned into locked crystal, 44,000 into locked KPT.
And what is the vesting schedule for the 44-44? Like the lock crystal, the lock Clayton.
Yeah,
that's a new vesting schedule.
Locked
right?
crystal will follow the current locked crystal. So crystal that launched on April 1st. That's when it started minting new crystal. So we're talking April 1st, 2023. And then KPT, that won't, I mean, that we don't even know the vesting schedule for that until they start to emit locked KPT.
Okay, so let us be men of reason for a second. Let's just think about this logically. So let's say, we're all normal people. So let's say I came to you and I said, hey, I'm going to sell you a toaster. Okay. You got super psyched about this toaster. You bought all this bread. You invited a bunch of your friends over, and they're all going to partake in the deliciousness of this toaster. They're going to have toasted products. Okay. And then I came back 6 months later and I said, actually, it's not a toaster. It's a peach that's rotten and will give you gonorrhea if you eat it. Okay. How do you feel? Do you feel like that's a reasonable pitch? Do you think that's, in other words, is there any way to cut this pie, this gonorrhea peach pie, that doesn't make it seem like, to quote my good friend Charlie Sprocket in chat, a total scam? Is there a way to cut it? Cut it for me.
I mean, Baby Punch and I have talked about this a lot, and we did talk about this on our, I think the 1 year anniversary stream a month ago. But it's like, I kind of view it like this. So like, and we have friends who've had to deal with this. Like somebody's building a new build, the price of like your materials is like skyrocketing over the course of the build. The builder comes in and is like, hey, like I can't build it for you at this price. Like we can walk away from this and you can sue me in court and hope you recover something, or I've got to like raise the price. Like you don't really like, what do you do? It's like two pretty awful scenarios. You go to court, you're going to spend a ton of fees. Maybe you recover something, and maybe like, what are you going to force him to build it at that price? Like that's not happening. So usually you just have to bite the bullet. So I kind of view this as like a rip the band-aid off. The tokenomics model as it was needed fixing, and I think this helps solve a lot of it, especially like converting Joule into a non in-game use. Like it's not used for in-game transactions. I mean, all my thoughts are in that Medium article, but like long story short, I feel like this was you got to rip the band-aid off, and it was kind of this, or watch 700,000 Joule unlock every single day and watch this price go to 1 cent. So
yeah.
So are you
My
salty at the builder? Yeah, Aaron. So or Baby
I was
Punch.
just, yeah.
Yeah.
I was
If
just
if
gonna say, um, my take on this is it sucks for those who have a lot of locked Jewel, um, but there's not really an alternative. The reality is Harmony kind of crapped the bed, and now we're forced to move Serendale to a new blockchain. I don't know. Do you think this would have happened? Do you think this change in tokenomics would have happened if Harmony didn't, if that bridge didn't get hacked?
I think so. They still have the
Was
same
this a
problem.
was this a fix for their tokenomics, or was this a reaction to the Harmony bridge and Harmony basically going down? What do
honestly,
you
I think
guys
it's a
think?
bit of both. I gotta highlight this comment though. Lucky Duck says more like cutting your arm off then ripping the band-aid.
Okay, so wait, let's follow the builder metaphor for a second. So let's say you hire a normal builder, and in that scenario, you're like, hey, I hired you to build me this house that's 2,000 square feet. And he's like, listen, costs have gone up. I can only build you a 1,500 square foot house. It's just, it is. And you're like, okay, I get it. Okay. But what if he came back to you and he had been drinking and got into a DUI and then didn't build a house? And he's like, listen, best I can do is 50 square feet house. Okay. You can stand in like a little room with your house. And he's like, listen, it is what it is. And you're like, well, you seems like you are the problem here, not it's inflation, man. It is what it is. I can only give you a single square box. That I don't know. So that's where it's like, is it really just the
I
inflation?
agree, like that makes it super hard to swallow for sure. But what is your option? Just go to court and sue this guy? Like going back to the builder example, like it's just, yeah, it makes that option a little like worse, or maybe a little more appealing, because he's like, you're talking about like bad, bad actor status. But I don't know, man. I will say this too. Everyone's complaining about it. I mean, I have 260,000 of my own lock jewel. I share a lock jewel wallet with the two of you and
With
other
some
friends,
unnamed people,
and we have 200,000 lock jewel in there, which we bought at $1.15. Then when
which
lock
we
jewel is
thought was a
$1.15, so that means jewel was,
stealio.
we were like buying it at 20%, so that was when jewel was $4. Like,
I
mean,
bought a yacht because I thought our locked balance is going to the moon.
I mean, we're like taking it in the pants on this, but I think that, and I hope it's not like the small little holders that are complaining the most about it, because honestly, it's the giant holders, it's the people with millions of locked jewel that are bearing the cost of this. And in some senses, I think that's more fair than letting those same people. Oh, my camera's always messed up. Than letting those same people unlock all their jewel every single day, because in that scenario, they're the winners and the small bags are the losers. Here, I think the small bags are better off than the big bags. I think they bear the biggest cost here. So
Okay.
1 sec on me.
Yeah.
Let's just hit. By the way, iOS code in chat said he'd like to see more metaphors, so start brainstorming those. But in the meantime, let's talk about. It's been a topic many times on this medium, but gameplay. What's the situation for gameplay? When can we expect actual utility from an NFT in a substantive way, in a way that's actually meaningful?
Well, outside of DeFi Kingdoms, they have Fight Club from.
So third party though, you're talking third
Yes,
party.
third party, and knowing some people who've played it, supposedly it's really, really fun. I haven't tried it yet. I fully intend to try it. So, but people have said that that's really fun. And then DFK Duel. So there's that. So we do have some playability, but we still don't have like the infamous combat that they have.
So I'll rephrase that. When are we going to see substantive gameplay
Okay.
From DeFi Kingdoms?
from DeFi Kingdoms?
Yeah. Well, is this a flashback to the question back in like what was it, like January, December?
And they were
And
like,
I was like,
month.
no way it happens after summer. Like, there's no way they let it drag on that long.
So do we have any line of sight? Is there any? I'm just saying, is there any communication from the team, or at this point, are we still relatively in the dark?
Well, it's now kind of, the team is obviously not touching that right now. They're focused on parity, getting everything transitioned over to Crystal Vale. Then it will be on migrating and bridging and kicking off Serendale 2.0. So, but Wisdom
Bullish.
Games, they announced that partnership with Wisdom Games, and they're supposedly working on it. Those devs are posting little things like, I don't know if you want to call it teasers on Twitter of like, hey, look at, what do you think? Whose ability do you think this belongs to? I have no idea what it's going to look like or the timeline. And honestly, at this point, I'm just like, I've been like beat down so badly over the past 6 months that I just don't make like optimistic guesses anymore.
Assume the worst and you'll be fine.
Next summer would be great.
Right.
So Wisdom Gaming is, though, like, they are actively working on combat, even though the DFK team is focused on parity and other things. Like, supposedly it is being worked on in the backgrounds.
That's my understanding.
Okay, just a little intermission here. Why don't we check the floor price of a Gen Zero? Let's just so we can contrast where we've been,
looked at this the other day.
where we are today.
Roughly,
Let me.
like
I can pull it up.
15,000 jewel, which I think was in the ballpark. I think at the time, I think it was like $2,200-$2,300, and
see, that is
impressive. It might be less.
That is above what you paid. You are still in the black on DFK Gen Zeros.
Yeah, that might be the only thing I'm in the black on.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Somebody want to pull up a deck screener and tell me
Let's see.
I can pull up the Gen Zero here. Be honest, haven't been in the tavern for a while, guys. 13,500 crystal.
Oh, okay.
I think we're at like what, 22 cents?
18.6 cents.
For crystal or jewel? I'm pretty sure.
Oh, are you looking at crystal?
Yeah, I mean the tavern.
Oh, 23 cents. Yeah, that's right. 23 cents for crystal.
So 13,500, 23 cents. That's 3,100 USD.
Dude, you are mega in the black. You are
You're
mega in the black.
still, yeah.
Thank you.
Tell you who's not in the black. The guys who bought with their gains, you know, a Gen 0 for 55, what was the equivalent of $55,000? Oh gosh.
No, but I thought, wait, when did you do that? Because I thought you swapped, right? You were trying to get R1 aligned.
Yeah, it was like a swap, but
Yeah,
it's
it was a
like still,
swap
it's like
routine.
it's profits. I sold the Gen 0 for that amount, and then I threw it right back into a new Gen 0.
Okay.
So
Okay, so as far as the AMA today, do you want to hit the highlights? What's new? What should we be
yeah,
excited
just
about?
real quick, let me give like a 3-minute, like, here's what you got to do, like, here's what they're telling people to do if you, so like for those who really haven't been paying attention, maybe stumble on this video. So everything's moving, everything is shut down right now for the most part on Harmony. Wow, if I could get anything to load here. So quests, all quests are shut down, the duels are shut down, the raffles are shut off, the leaderboard, meditation circle, summoning, tavern, item trader, stonecarver, alchemist, pretty much every in-game feature is shut down right now. And honestly though, when I was putting this list together, it is kind of cool to just look back and see like there has been quite a bit built over the past year. But that's a tangent, but the only thing that hasn't been shut down yet is pet hatching completion. So you can't start hatching new eggs, but if you hatched one or started the incubate process, you will be able to hatch for the next 6 days. You can still buy and sell pets, but after next Wednesday, those will be shut down, and hopefully the bridge to migrate pets. So all those have been shut down. That's kind of the status. So what should you be doing? Well, if you're here and you want to like be able to use your assets, you should bridge your heroes, which you do. You know, you come here, you go to bridge heroes. It'll pull up your heroes here. I don't have any heroes left on this because I bridged them all over, and I don't think you can bridge them back.
Is there any reason to have heroes in Serendale full stop?
No. I'd honestly, it's got to just be people who've forgotten.
Yeah,
you can't quest with them
at this point.
If you have Jewel or other tokens, right? AVAX, Avox, whatever you want to call it.
Wait, but this would just be a Harmony chain. You don't have to bridge this. They're not sitting, you know.
They don't
Serendale
have. Yeah. You could do whatever you want. But Jewel, if it's a DFK asset like Jewel, you should get it out. And then items, the way to bridge items, it's a little less intuitive because you're like, oh, you know, right here you have bridge tokens, bridge heroes. For items, you just open up your inventory, you click on it, like here's a stamina vial, bridge item, and by approving that, you go over to DFK chain and that stamina vial will show up. So that is like the recommended, like, hey, you should just, if you want to like have use of your assets, you should get them over to Crystal Vale. The only other thing is the gardens are no longer emitting Jewel. So if you're providing liquidity, like say, I was shocked actually when I look at this, there's still $13 million worth of Jewel of Ox. Like, who's providing
You're saying just
that?
idle money. Yeah, idle money.
Yep. Yeah. So it's like no jewels being emitted. So really the only thing you're getting is that like 0.0 or the 0.3% fee from the DEX, which is honestly nominal. And so my recommendation is like unpair your tokens before these things get small. So like
Stay Mellow said the 13 mil is valued using 1 USDC. So
okay. So these are still pulling the old ones. That's right. Like so we're at like we're at
8%, right? Isn't it 8 cents?
Yeah. So so these are actually much smaller. And so the thing I would just caution is that you don't want to be the last one to pull your liquidity out because presumably you're going to want to like either trade back into Jewel and bridge it over or just sell your Jewel into something else. And with the liquidity for Jewel pairings almost gone, it'll be like highly volatile, like if you're like one of those last few people pulling out. So I guess you could always just bridge your Jewel over after unpairing. But like here's another scenario too, is like you leave it in, somebody unpairs, like most of the liquidity's gone. Let's say you're one of the last liquidity providers in that pool. Somebody does a few swaps and like completely wipes out like one in a one-sided direction, and you pull out one of your tokens and they're worth like nothing. So I would say there's way too much risk to be keeping tokens paired here. You should unpair them immediately and do something else with them.
If you
All
don't
right.
move assets or heroes, any assets, do they disappear? What happens?
So initially they said that they were gonna this Serendale would just completely shut down, and they would have to just snapshot. They would take a snapshot and mint everything for them on the new Clayton chain. But what they decided, and I think this will be actually way easier than snapshotting, keeping track of all these records, who needs to be airdropped. They're just gonna keep it open with bridges. So what it'll look like is probably something more like they said this today, the Avalanche outpost. So sorry, I'm switching my RPC real quick. So you'd come to something like this, and there would just be like, hey, connect your wallet, shows you what assets you have, and from right there, they'd keep the bridges open, hero item, other bridges, and let you bridge them out. Like, sounds like indefinitely, but we'll see how long that lasts. But that would be in lieu of like, hey, you forgot to get your assets out before we turn the lights off. Now we need to mint you the equivalent on Clayton. Sounds like that's not going to be the approach anymore. All right, sorry, that was a lot, but that's hopefully like the quick and dirty for anybody who's been, not paying attention for the last 2 months and is like, what do I need to do with my, I know
So
there's people out there
basically,
with Gen Zeros just chilling on Serendale.
in summary, just bridge everything over. There's no reason at this point to wait.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing for questing? Do you feel comfortable saying exactly what you're doing and calling out specifically what tools you're using to do it with?
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't care. I
yeah.
I think I
This,
mean, go
I
ahead,
think we've
baby
talked
punch.
about it already. But yeah, there's a Discord channel. I don't know if we've linked it. It's called DFK Helper, right? Yeah, DFK Helper. And um, they manage this channel. You give them access to a wallet that you provide, has all the heroes in it, and it just auto quests for you. It's super, super smooth. You control everything through a shared Google Doc. Um, can you guys
Shared
hear
with
me?
yeah, I can hear
Okay,
you.
my camera kicked off. I should know. So you share the, and here's where there's a little bit of trust factor in, is because you have to share the seed phrase with that particular wallet. So highly advisable,
The
create a
private
new
key.
one.
Private
Private
key.
key, yeah, private key, not seed phrase. The private key to that particular wallet. Um, we have all been doing it for quite a while, and so we've established that level of trust with this creator of this Discord. I think it's open to anyone who wants to do it now. I think it's growing quite a bit. Do you have an idea of how many people are using it?
I think that he has it. I don't think it's like public. Like, I mean, it's public. Anybody can come in, but I don't think he's like full blown advertising it yet. He has
Okay.
a pretty small group. He's making sure it's like well oiled machine.
Yeah. It's
But
super slick though.
yeah,
Everything is just so good.
so I think your options right now, people like um, you've got DFK Earn. DFK Earn has an auto quest service. They've been running that for a while. They're really successful. You've got Thanos over on
Oh,
DFK. I think he has probably the largest. And everyone has a different like setup. So DFK Earn, you send it like everyone sends it to these joint wallets, and then I think you like get your cut. DFK, you install a program on your computer. DFK Helper, which is what I use. Um, DFK helper. That's what I said. You provide the key to one of your wallets. So obviously, like, don't ever provide your seed raises. The guy who runs it is doxed to us. I met him initially because he was helping me. He reached out and was like, hey, I want to help you like proofread your articles, and we got to know each other really well. And then he started, uh, coding in JavaScript, and he started DFK helper. But you essentially provide your private key through, uh, you know, a few different methods, and he keeps it encrypted on his end. There's, people have raised security concerns, but feel free to hop over to his Discord. Maybe we can link it, and ask
Does
him
he
about
charge a
it.
fee? And the answer is, I believe so. Is there any free
yeah.
option, or is it only fee based?
I think they all charge fees. So I think DFK
Yeah.
Earn takes a percentage. DFK I thought was a monthly. DFK Helper is a monthly, but like honestly, it's a game changer, guys. Like,
The mental health benefit I've received from not questing every day. Whew.
And
Yeah.
like, there's been a lot. I know that Sergeant Filthy McNasty had Thanos on, and they had like a whole podcast about like, well, is botting good or is botting bad? And honestly, like, I don't want to get into that here. I don't think it's bad. And honestly, I think botting is always going to be, especially in a game like this where it's fully decentralized, everything is a contract on the blockchain. Like, you're never not going to have bots, and you're never going to be able to blacklist all that. So what I envision happening is you'll see profession quests will probably always be run by bots, or and this is what I think is most likely, DeFi Kingdoms changes the way that it runs its quests, and instead of doing, like, let's just take an example, right? Let's say you quest your guy for an entire week. As soon as he comes off his stamina, you send him back. As soon as he comes off stamina, you send him back. And it's like, what would you get over the course of a week? And that they'll eventually, again, my guess, allow you to just say, hey, how long do you want to stake this guy in the gardens or in fishing? And you'll just stake him, and then whenever you pull it out, let's say it's been 7 days, and you just go to pull him out, you get the same amount of rewards as though you quested him, same amount of stamina as though you quested him. I just don't see why you wouldn't have something like that for something as like monotonous as like profession quests. And then you're going to have PvP and the other things, which will ideally be created in a way where you can't bot.
Okay, so I mean, again, some difficult pills to swallow here.
Hold up real quick. We got Jordy saying, hey, DFK Quester. That's another one too, guys. DFK Quester is another one. Sorry, I didn't mean to like leave anybody out there. I
Good.
think all the community developers are doing a great job, and like, I don't have beef with any of them. I think everyone's trying to provide a helpful service. So you got DFK Quester as well. Thanks, Jordy.
So, is there any reason to be bullish on DFK? And can you say what that reason is? Why are you bullish, if at all, on DFK?
Well, I'll give a quick reason. Just because the team is still together, they're still building, and they are still doing everything they can to grow. I mean, they're headed out to, I think, Singapore. One's headed to New York, so they're hitting different conferences and venues for marketing. So if there's a reason to be bullish, it's because they haven't like fully exited. They are, if anything, they've doubled down in their efforts. They've expanded to a new chain. They've increased their marketing efforts. They're still building. So I think any project that is still full speed ahead, there's reason to be bullish on.
Okay, Sandwich Punch.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to get this link for these guys. I would say that's the big thing too for me is like the team. I'm not gonna lie. There was a period where like it got super dicey after like all the FUD, or whether if you don't want to call it FUD, like the truth bombs, and the team had to dox themselves, and I mean, it was like super dicey. If DFK did not exist 2.5 months after that, like, I would not have honestly been surprised. It's like super common in Web3, super common in projects. and then it was like really slow, right? Like every weekly update, the team was just like, you could hear it in their voice. They were haggard. They just, I could like see how beat down they were, and we were on the cusp of like a departure, or so it just kind of sounded like sometimes. And then it like the fundraiser or the grant and the Clayton stuff, and Dreamer has been working his tail off, so it seems, and they're continuing to build. And I'm honestly, I love seeing the momentum, and they're doing what, like, take out, say what you want about like how much they got paid before. Like, okay, the reality is we are where we are. The price has gone down, whether you want to say it's because of them taking profits or because of a broken tokenomics model or because this was intended to be a rug. Some people have said that. It's like we are where we are now, and what do we see them doing in like a terrible bear market? They're building. They're being invited to conferences. Chainlink is paying for Frisky and Magnus to go and speak. You've got Clayton doing, they're not just like willy-nilly going to be investing and giving grants. Like they're doing their due diligence, and it's in the middle of a bear market. And you always hear people say like, that is the time. If people are building in a bear market, like that's where you're getting ready, like, and poised for like the big next run up. So seeing how they've reacted to this bear market, to all the hurdles they've had to go through, that is what makes me bullish. Because I see
Awesome.
other projects that they're just dead. They're silent. Their Discord updates are like nominal. They're never holding AMAs. Yeah, I have to go and be like, hey, what's going on with this project? And it's very hard to find out like what's the status, what's going on. So
Now, you told me something that I didn't understand at first. Maybe it would be helpful to clarify this. I think you said because Joule is becoming, I believe, the governance token, right? It is not a token to be consumed and transacted with, that we won't see Joule, even in a really good scenario, we will not see Joule bounce back. Is that right? We'll never see Joule, or is very, very unlikely to see Joule skyrocket in price. Is that a fair statement?
I mean, never.
I'm saying the odds are against that, even if DFK saw a really strong recovery. Despite that, Joule price likely will not shoot up. Is that correct?
I don't think we'll see like to rise to $22 ever again.
But I'm
okay.
saying, apart from the speculation, I'm saying, what is the fact that it is now the governance token
I see
imply
what you're
about
saying.
its volatility?
I think that it will be less volatile, and I would expect that it would be a more like stable growth. And I just don't understand. I don't know why it would really go down. I mean, okay, obviously everything can go down, but it's not like you don't have a lot of those pressure where it's like, oh, it's too much, like it's too expensive to summon, it's too expensive to buy heroes. Like that's going to be a completely separate token now. Joule is literally like governance. You get to share in the protocol fees, and it's deflationary now. There is no more Joule that will ever be minted again. It's burning Joule with all these transactions going on in DFK chain. When you start to get duels and stuff coming back, the price of Joule, I mean, it's going to be deflationary in like a very true sense, and not just like a Ethereum merge. Oh, we're deflationary, and then the the supply is like greater than it was the day after the merge.
Okay. Any other topics we want to hit here? Anyone have any big news?
So I was really impressed with the AMA today with David Shin over at Clayton. I wrote the transcript, or I listened and wrote the transcript. So if anybody's interested, you should definitely go check it out. But it was just interesting to hear David's take on like why he's excited about DFK going over, what he sees as being like the synergies, and how he sees Clayton and DFK being able to help each other. And I honestly, I think it's a really great move. Like this is so much more bullish than Harmony ever was. And I really, like, it pains me to say it, like I really liked Harmony, but they just like crap the bed so bad with their.
I mean, they claim to have a path forward, right? They claim to have a path forward, Harmony.
Yeah.
Although, again, I'm not a blockchain genius. It seemed like they had a really good thing going during a really bull market run, tons of projects building, and it seems like they didn't do a very good job of creating a good place for that. Obviously, the $100 million hack aside, it just never felt like they were that invested in GameFi and supporting
I
projects.
know a lot of projects really had a hard time getting support. At least that's what the rumor was, or what they were kind of talking about, was they had a hard time getting support from the Harmony Core team, which is really fortunate, because that's your bread and butter right there. I mean, if you're not supporting your current projects, how do you expect people to continue to build on it? So I think that was a pretty big miss. Now, I don't really have much information on that, so I'm just taking what I've heard on social media. But that's what kind of what I gathered, is a lot of projects felt like they were really under supported, and grants were promised and never delivered, and so.
Do you guys remember RPC PTSD intensifying? My transaction won't go through. I can't quest. My hero's locked.
Flipping
Yeah,
through
man.
6 different RPCs.
Swapping through RPCs frantically, trying to get transactions to go through. Love you, Harmony.
Or like the
Sandwich Punch, show me your Harmony tat.
Harmony tat. Yeah, I thankfully did not get a Harmony tat. Although I would be down with the tat.
And again, we got a comment about land. Is there any plans for land? Like those people who drop 250K USD for land, USDZ? What's the plan? Like any hope on the horizon for them?
They're super. The team's super excited about it. So they say, Frisky Fox they've got all these plans, but we know how it is. Like you only have so many hours in a day, and you only have so many hours in a day, and it's like we know what the priorities are. Land, we're like, don't expect anything to happen with land until there's full Crystal Vote parity, until Serendale 2.0 is launched, until we get professional level 10 quests. But when it does come out, it sounds like it's gonna be really cool. But yeah, it sucks if you've been holding land forever. We won land back in November, sold it in, I don't remember, March. We sold it for
Did any of you guys take profits? Did anyone take Jewel out? Like, did your brothers?
Do you think we would be here if we took profits right now?
I'm saying on the land specifically. Did anyone take profits? Do you know?
We sold the land. We had a group wallet.
Yeah.
We kind of had our own unofficial DAO, and we sold it to Jalanka. Baby Punch and I talked about this on our last stream. That poor guy bought it for $400,000 worth of Jewel, and I think he's trying to sell it right now for I don't even know how much. But then the joke's on me because I didn't sell any of that Jewel. I just kept it. So,
bro, what if it goes to 40, right?
Yeah, dude. It's what if Jewel goes to 40?
Yeah, no, I'm saying that you can't sell. What if Jewel goes to 40, right? When it was 20, it's like you can't sell.
Yeah, but yeah. I see what you're saying.
Charlie Sprocket, even if you sold Jewel into USDC, you lost it all with the DPEG.
Yep.
Good point.
That's exactly.
Unless
Here's the thing that I think hit me the hardest, and I've said this multiple times. I took a decent amount of profits, but it was held in USDC on Harmony or on UST in UST. And UST hit me hard. Also, shout out iOS code when amulets. Love it.
When amulet. He always has the funniest comments.
I know.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on that amulet snapshot. I put a lot into that, so really hoping.
It's gonna be the running joke. I wanted to do a giveaway. Did you guys have anything else, or is there any questions? Do you want to Bloater take a look and see if there's any questions while I get my screen ready?
Okay, Sandwich Punch is going to get ready for the giveaway. If you guys have any questions you want addressed, please hit them up in the chat. Chutney.
Guys, hoping for combat to be actually fun. Expectations high on that. I think if they have it like the Gambit system, that could be a really fun version of combat. I've never actually played it. I know it was embedded in one of the Final Fantasies. I think it was 12 or something. 14.
No, 12. Yeah, 12. Sorry.
But that could be a really fun system. I mean, if they get their skills down, then it could be fun. Who knows?
Part of me is why don't they start pivoting away from full centralization, full smart contracts, everything? Because their development is obviously slow as balls. So is there a reason they haven't hey, maybe we should entertain some decentralized ideas like just typical programming, typical gamification, and integrate that into this awesome decentralized place? Can you get me on the agenda in the next ops call with the?
I think that's what they've discussed, Wonder Gaming or whatever. That it they're pursuing options where it doesn't need to be fully on chain.
iOS code. Do any of you guys care about PvE? I don't know. Based on what they've produced and shipped in terms of gameplay, I can't see that being super fun. I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll be really fun, and I don't know. Could you see a world in where you're like, I can't wait to log on so I can play DFK's PVE based on what do we have to go on? Mining quests. Very exciting.
DFK Duel.
So
I think they could make it fun. I think that they'll have to shift away from. I think it'll be very lore heavy, and there's going to have to be some like fun RNG elements that like play into crafting. I think that's what's really carried the game is you've got, everyone loves RNGesus and like rolling for summons. Are you going to get that egg on your drop? So I could see there being some fun aspects of like, okay, you go and do this dungeon. Like, what do you get? Are you getting like the crafting mats you need? Okay, so giveaway. I am going to give away. Where are they? Oh, one. I'm going to give away 30 stam pots. So I'm not sure how much that'll get you, how far that'll get you, but I think stam pots are like
That might get you a level.
a few jewel or crystal. So yeah. Bloater Punch, do you have your
I do. I
you
actually
got
do,
it?
and it's not a Robin Hood
I'm
quote.
Yeah, wait,
Let me cut you off
scarred.
real fast.
you're not gonna
scarred
do
from-
the Aladdin genie.
I thought it was
quote.
Robin Hood. It was Robin Hood.
No, you've done
No,
them
it was
both
Aladdin. It
times.
was the whole genie.
No, it was not Aladdin. You guys are dumb. I'm ready for the quote. This is a Disney quote. First person to get it. And Jafer, if you're here, I'd be really disappointed if you don't win this, because your Disney game is
Jafer's
generally on point.
disqualified because he's always throwing shade on my mythic archer.
Okay, Jafer's disqualified. It was Aladdin. All right, whatever. So here's the okay. Ready? So first person to type the name of the movie gets the 30 stamp pots. Okay.
Wait, hold
And-
on. Specify. We need Discord name followed by
Oh,
the
Yeah,
entry,
so
right?
that's a very good point.
we did this. We have ran into this issue last time. Is like sometimes people type in their Discord name and it like tags themselves in YouTube, and so it doesn't show up. So just like somewhere in your message, give us like some indication of your Discord username, and we'll make sure you get settled.
Yeah.
J for X blew his one shot already on Robin Hood. So
That's your one shot, bro. You can't guess again. All right, here it goes. Okay, here's the quote. Ready? Indoor plumbing. It's gonna be big.
I'm pretty sure you've done this one before.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, I know this one.
Are you in YouTube or are you just looking at our Restream app?
How do we want to do it? Do we want to do it based off of what I see on YouTube or what I see
Just
in
go
Restream?
off what we see in Restream.
I see Defiant Vixen, Hercules.
Yeah.
It's one of
Coolio
the
said Monsters
fates.
Inc. Were you thinking of the like I'm watching you, Wazowski? Because that was the voice
Yeah.
when Bloater Punch used it. I was like, oh, is this the?
Okay, but aren't they similar voices? Okay, they're similar voices. Yeah, it's Hercules.
All right,
So
Defiant Vixen.
Defiant
DV.
Vixen. Wait, did he include his Discord? He did.
DV2811. All right, Defiant
Very
Vixen,
nice.
the proud winner of 30 stand pots.
Don't spend it all in one place, kid. Okay.
All right, guys, and I know we talked about DFK Helper. Coolio in chat here is actually from that server, so I think I included the link. Maybe we'll include the link in the description. But I think at one point, because it is the one that I use, I really like the guys. Maybe we'll have them on and kind of go into more detail on, how it works. It's pretty cool stuff. Like we essentially
One of my favorite features. Let me just tell you this. This is a plug for him. You can have your hero questing. You can list it for sell. It will go on the market for sell. As soon as it has full stamina, it'll go off the market quest. And then as soon as it's like done questing, it'll go back on the market. You don't even have to change anything. So if you want to summon a hero and you're like, I don't really want this one, I want to sell it, you can quest with the hero and sell it essentially simultaneously.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Essentially,
you have that flexibility.
It's been like a what do you want to see happen, and like they build it, and it's been a really cool. It's a small group, and So it's been kind of cool to see it be built from the ground up. But anyways,
Hey,
we'll have to have them
just
on sometime. Really like these guys.
Okay, just
I
a
like 'em
throwback
all.
memory. Do you guys remember Tilt Proof Tuesdays? And 100 Joule was 2K. They were like 2K, 2K, 2K.
I remember that. And
And
now it's
now
like
when
now we're like
it's like
five Schloss
$5.
runes, 100 Gaia's tears. Hey,
That was
but at the same time, it's like you gotta make cuts. And
gotta make cuts, and no cuts, no butts, no coconuts. And that's also a Disney quote.
Wreck-It Ralph. I knew
Wreck-It
that one.
Ralph.
I
Great
knew
one.
that one, dude. Love that show.
Great movie.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll man, it was a month, and we said last time it was going to be like 2 weeks. We really let's kick it back up. We'll try to sync back up, and if there's hot topics, Bloater Punch loves to talk about the controversial stuff. Hasn't been a lot of that lately, but
where are y'all like? Yeah, when Jewel was 20, and I was saying, "Hey, be careful," and everyone was like, "You're crazy, you're stupid, kick Bloater Punch off the stream." Where are y'all at now? Hey, sit down.
That's a good point, man. We should go back and look at some of the comments from
We
some
should
of the old
have
videos, and
a
people
recap.
were like, "Kick him off, get Bloater out of here. He's such a bear."
Yep.
So funny, just a quick funny story, guys. Bloater's brother is an even bigger bear, and I can't tell you how many times he said, "This is crazy. This is euphoria. The fact that you still have any assets is absurd. Like, I can't believe you're still holding." And I was just like, nope. And I'd be like, I sold 1%. I sold 1%. And yeah, well,
good times.
should have listened to him a little bit more. But I do think, I mean, can it go that much lower? I think we're in a pretty good spot. I've honestly I had a huge a bag of Phantom that I bought when it was like $1, and then Cronier left and it went down to 70 cents, and I was like desaying into Phantom all the way down to 20 cents, and now I'm just kicking myself, and I'm wondering if I should just sell it and buy more Jewel, because honestly I'm more bullish on Jewel.
What was the guys? What was it? Matic? Was that the one you guys were really bullish on? You remember that?
No, that
was it Phantom?
I
thought it was Matic. Okay.
Well, it was less that we were super bullish on Phantom and more that we were just like, this sell-off is unwarranted. Cronier leaving does not warrant a 30% dip.
So, and you guys would have probably been right if it just wasn't a general bear market, right?
Yeah.
Probably. It's hard to know.
All right, gents.
Okay. I for reals mean it now. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.